Hey, CB here again with Emily.
You've been listening to Radio VNP, curated performances from the weekly live stream of The Voice in the Pen.
For information on Radio VNP and The Voice in the Pen, please visit our website at voiceinthepen.com. You can learn about the performers you'll be listening to, as well as how to get involved.
And please visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you can get advanced notifications of performances. We are a fast-growing community, and we'd love to have you join us.
The Voice in the Pen is a songwriters cooperative focused on promoting and assisting original songwriters with technology, technique, and platforms for performing.
That's right. Besides the weekly live stream on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 10, we also host educational and informational events to help performers understand the technology and techniques for better performances.
And if you're not a performer, you can still help support The Voice in the Pen in a number of ways. We can always use volunteers to help set up events, street crew to get the word out, and we always appreciate your marketing and advertising and sponsorship dollars.
We can use financial support to pay for projects such as our local music CD collection and artist honorariums.
And if you're a small business owner or a corporate representative interested in supporting original music and area songwriters, please reach out through any of our social media profiles or on our website at voiceinthepen.com. We can help you get your message out to a community of people known for supporting local businesses and the businesses that support local artists.
We'll be streaming some great music again in a few minutes.
In the meantime, please thank our sponsors for their support. It doesn't cost a dime to give them a call or a shout out on social media, and it lets them know that their support is deeply appreciated.
Thanks for tuning in, and have a musical day.
The Boiling Spring Lakes Motel, located at 2 North Shore, is a peaceful and convenient place to stay. Newly renovated rooms with a comfortable back porch welcomes everyone. Discount rates are available to those who might need more time. Close to the beach, everything you need for a fun vacation. Call Stephanie at 910-845-2893. Boiling Spring Lakes Motel.
Folks, you know you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now, just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
This week on All Things Brunswick, Dr. Terry Stoops from the John Locke Foundation will join us to discuss the recently released test scores from the state regarding student achievement and also to discuss the Brunswick scores in relation to statewide. Join us 6 p.m. Tuesdays here on The Big Talker.
Hey, I'm Yael Osowski.
And I'm David Clement.
We're the host of Consumer Choice Radio, broadcasting every Saturday at 10 a.m. here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Consumer Choice Radio is a weekly conversation featuring the latest news, interviews, and expert analysis that covers consumer topics from around the world.
ConsumerChoiceRadio.com.
Are you tired of making bad choices? Well, don't. Choose Best Choice Roofing for all your roofing needs. From free inspection to timely repairs, we've got you covered. And with our Owens Corning Platinum Preferred status, we'll have you covered for years to come. Give us a call at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com today to schedule your absolutely free, no obligation roof assessment.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
I'm a medical assistant. I'm the first person you see at the doctor's office. I love what I do. I never have the same day twice, and my job is stable, flexible, and important. And I have options. Medical assistants are in demand. I can work in a variety of healthcare settings, including specialty physicians' offices, hospitals, and in any healthcare facility. I'm a role model for my kids and a trusted healthcare professional at work. I got my start at CFCC, and you can too. Visit cfcc.edu/medical assisting and get started today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Living Fed After 50 show. I'm your host, Dan Romand, and we got a really good show today. The fun news is The lovely Lori is not here local. If you notice next to me, those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, she's not here. Where she is, who knows? No, actually, we do know. She's up visiting family and going to a wedding tomorrow, but she didn't want to miss the show because it's going to be so freaking awesome. So say hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
I knew she was going to go there. Hey, welcome everybody. Let's just get the.
You seem too excited that I'm not there. I'm just saying.
I can eat anything I want. I can sleep as late as I want, and I'm not getting nagged. Hey, what's not like to leg? Hey, just a reminder, everybody, we are live on the Big Talker. If you're listening in, awesome. If you're listening to us on Facebook or YouTube, hey, go download the Big Talker app. It's absolutely free, available in the Apple and Google Play stores. Also, don't forget, we are live, and you can call in 910-444-0281, or if you're on Facebook, you can make a chat little notice in there with us, ask questions, and be part of the conversation. And what a conversation we're going to have. So I'm really excited about the show, and I know I say it every single week, but one of the reasons that I think this one's going to be really important for a lot of people is we're going to be talking about bariatric surgery, the pros, the cons, what to look out for. And we're going to be talking with someone who I've had the absolute pleasure of knowing and training for, 6 years now, I think, somewhere in that area.
We just crossed over 6.
6 years. And Nancy came to us, Nancy Facone is our guest. She came to us and she started out with our studio up north when we were up there. And to this day, she's still joining us virtually. I train her with her 3 times a week. And that's not why she's on the show. Although the real reason we're bringing her on is she did have bariatric surgery. She'll share her story, talk a little bit about it, because one of the things we want to do with the show is give you the information you need to make wise decisions. And one of the questions that Lori and I get often is what our thoughts are on bariatric surgery. And speaking for myself, I'm completely neutral on it. I talk about this frequently. There are cases where I think it's absolutely necessary, and I have referred people to various surgeons to consult and see if the surgery is appropriate. There are also times I think that it's not appropriate. And I think, Lori, wouldn't it be safe to say you're pretty much in the same thought process with that?
Yes. I've known people that have had it. I've known people that have been very successful with it. Nancy being one that has been very successful with it, and others that not so successful. So I think it becomes a personal choice as well as based on medical necessity and being able to really follow it long term. And Nancy, I know, has followed it long term, which is great to have her here on our show to talk about her success.
Right. We're going to get a patient's perspective. And just to be clear, I'm not a doctor. Lori's not a doctor. Nancy's not a doctor. We're not giving medical advice here. Okay. We're just giving you information to kind of educate you. And the bottom line with all of it is take this information, digest it. But in the end, you need to have a discussion with an appropriate medical professional to decide whether it's good for you or not, whether it's appropriate or not. But our goal with this is to give you the information. And one other thing I just want to throw out, there are different types of surgery. There's several different types. We're not going to get into specific surgeries. We're just talking in general. We're calling it gastric surgery, gastric bypass in general, just so in case anyone wants to know about a specific surgery, whether this one's better than that one. Honestly, I'm not qualified to talk about it, nor is Lori. Nancy may have more knowledge than I do, and I'll grant that, but she also is not a doctor. So when it comes to the different types, I do want to stress that that's a conversation to have with a medical professional. All right, we got all the business stuff out of it. Nancy, tell us a little bit about yourself, just in general, and share the beginnings of your story.
Okay. So I am 55 years old. I'll be 56 in a couple of months. I had struggled with my weight my entire life. After having my two children, the weight just continued to pile on. I didn't lose weight from the first pregnancy. I got pregnant very quickly after my first, and then I didn't lose any weight from the second pregnancy. And then I just really, really struggled to try and get it off. I have tried everything from Weight Watchers to Nutrisystem to Jenny Craig to just trying to eat well on my own, and just absolutely, nothing worked. And I got myself up to a point where I weighed 341 pounds. I'm 5'9". And so I was talking to my beloved primary care physician who has since retired. And I asked her about it, and she thankfully was supportive, considerate, offered me her thoughts on that it might be a good thing after struggling for all this time. And I had this surgery back in 2010, so I'm 12 years out. And so she recommended a place for me to start. And it turned out that it was a certified bariatric center of excellence, which I think is something that someone should always be looking for. And I went to an educational session, got to meet the doctors and ultimately the doctor who performed my procedure. And it was like a 2-hour, in-depth, including video of what the procedure looks like, what it does, and what's involved, and then what the requirements are leading up to being able to actually have the surgery.
So let's talk about that process a little bit more, because if someone's considering it, we really want to give them a good idea of really how to go about it and what to expect. So one thing you mentioned that I think is kind of important is you went to a special center, right? What do they call? I'm sorry, what was it called?
It's a center of excellence.
Center of excellence. So one of the things that I think I would caution people on is there are a lot of doctors out there that are just performing the surgery. Find someone that you can get a good recommendation from, or as Nancy said, a center of excellence, because it does matter. I think, Nancy, you would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And you can also research your different options and look for, what were the adverse outcome rates of just having the procedure itself, which is a factor. And I know Dan and Lori both know that I'm a dedicated researcher. So I read books like crazy, including, maybe something good for everybody to start with is the Dummy's Guide to Bariatric Surgery. That might sound stupid, but it's pretty informative.
Real. See, now you taught me something new today. So like the old yellow for dummies textbook. Really?
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Okay. I haven't seen them in forever. Are they still around? I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I still have my copy.
Well, it's funny because to your point, they're really good. I mean, I used to refer people back when I was in my IT days to use those for basics on computers and stuff. So you talked with your doctor, you started the process there, you started doing your research. And you kind of alluded to the things you had tried. What do you think, or let me rephrase that. When is the time to kind of really start considering it? Should you have tried everything first, like I've heard some people say, or should you go, you know what, I've tried a couple things, it doesn't work? There's no right or wrong, I'm sure, but what is your thoughts on, like, when should you start considering it?
I mean, my feeling was I tried to use my best efforts to follow, all of those different programs. And while I might have had, like a minimal amount of success, then I would just gain weight back and more. So it just wasn't working for me. And that, that's ultimately when I went to my doctor after, I don't know, probably 15 years of trying all of those different things. And it just, nothing was working. So she said, it certainly doesn't hurt to go and listen to a seminar, get the graphic procedure details, and they'll show them to you, and to actually meet your doctor and see what level of comfort you have, what is their bedside manner kind of like, how are they going to talk to and interact with you, what kind of support services are built around that, like nutritionists or registered dietitian services to help you eating, what kind of, there's a pretty extensive, I think it was a 6-month kind of lead up before you could even be scheduled for surgery. There are a number of medical tests you have to go through, everything from, cardiology, blood workups, pulmonary function. I think those. I mean, even just your basic gynecological exam, just to make sure that everything is well, or everything else is well, or as well as can be, so that they can decide that you're a good candidate. And then there is like a solid. Mine was a 6-week program of essentially protein shakes and like 1 meal a day. Like they called it a liver shrinking diet. And then for the day before the procedure itself, you eat nothing. And, you take your typical surgical prep things.
The Miralax cocktail.
Yes, the special cocktail. And all of that, because what what they want is when you go in there, they want your stomach to be completely empty and completely quiet. And I have had stories where people went in there and they had like a McDonald's Big Mac the night before, and then they couldn't go through with the procedure. So that's not the wrong, that's the wrong mindset. You've got to have the right mindset. I also see people complaining about all of the pre-surgical steps. There's nutritional counseling, there's exercise counseling, all of those physical preoperative tests that I was talking about, the liquid diet in the beginning. I see a lot of people complaining about that, but that's what you do to comply. And, I always say, follow your doctor's orders. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen.
Great point. Lori, feel free to jump in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. So, Nancy, going back to that yellow book, Bariatrics for Dummies. So did you find, because I think there's a lot of procedures out there, and bariatric being one of them, that it's often that the information is often written from somebody that has not had the procedure. So when you read that book, was it written by somebody that had the procedure? Was it helpful for helping you make those decisions? Yes, like knowing that these are the steps.
I think it was. And Al Roker, the NBC News weatherman, he had gastric bypass, and he wrote parts of that book. So yes.
Yeah, so that's great, because I think that's helpful.
It is, yeah.
And that's kind of why we're having Nancy on ourselves, is because neither Lori or I has had it. We know about it, we've researched it, but to have someone that's actually been through the process, you get more information from them than you're ever going to get from someone who doesn't or hasn't had it. Go ahead, Lori, if you got another question or something.
I do. So one of the things, Nancy, looking at and knowing you for the past 6 years and seeing how far you have come, and have had conversations with you on the struggles of, the surgeries and the diets and stuff like that. I know you talked about all of the things you tried prior to surgery. Were any of those helpful to you? And I know you said you lost weight and then you fell back on it. Why was it different for you through bariatric surgery to keep that? How was it different for you to keep it off with the bariatric surgery? And I know, with the surgery and they, band or cut or, shrink things down. But I also know people that have had it and have gained weight. So what is your success story for your surgery?
Well, I think, unfortunately, I am one of those people that the first year the weight flew off, and no matter, what I did or didn't do. And then slowly, a couple of years, out, it started creeping back up again. And I wasn't necessarily following all the rules. Well, not necessarily. I wasn't following, all the rules, and I wasn't getting enough exercise. And it got to kind of my turning point, and how I ultimately got to you and Dan was I met a friend in Saratoga, a little bit north of where I live, to have dinner. And we walked from where she was staying at a hotel down to where the restaurant was, which wasn't, all that far. But by the time I got there, I was so out of breath. My face was beet red. And my friend said to me with love and concern, "It shouldn't be like this." And I kind of really took that to heart. And then for, probably a month or so, I started, researching different gyms and such. And, you popped up in my Facebook feed. And I just liked the way that you were describing it. Like, if you're afraid, if you haven't worked out, consider this, and it's just for 4 weeks. And then, Lori, you may remember, I called, I left a message, you called me back. And I think I probably interrogated you like the attorney that I am about so how beginner is beginner. And, and you assured me and made me feel very comfortable that I could absolutely, definitely do this. And so I decided to do it. And, walking in there was originally terrifying, not because you all aren't welcoming and the whole group was, welcoming. It was just my own self being nervous about what I could or couldn't do. I remember you coming over when we were practicing squatting, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to fall over backwards. And Lori, I don't know how tall you are, but I'm way, way taller than you. And I am still way, way larger than you. And you're like, I got you. And in my head, I was like, you don't got me. If I'm going down, you're going down with me. But we got through it. The first couple times were hard. Even just the warm-ups to me were like, whew, okay. But, I built up some confidence. I built up some strength. I know you remember the TRX story where I was convinced that I was so large I was going to pull that thing right out of the wall. And you got me through that. And it's now one of my, top favorite exercise routines to do on the TRX. But I had, but by the time I got to you all, like I said, when I started everything for having the procedure, I was 341 pounds. I got on the diet that they had me on, I got to 301 the day of surgery. I got down as low as 220-ish. And then I gained almost all the way back up to 300 by the time I got to you guys. And so I said, I've got to figure this out. I've got to use the tool nutritionally like I'm supposed to. And in fact, I've got to exercise. And I know Dan and Lori, have taught me well that it's 80% of nutrition and 20% of exercise. So I have to focus on both of those things. And because I can only eat small volumes, I have to make sure it's quality, nourishing food, lean proteins, healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, and that sort of thing that fit into a bariatric lifestyle. And so, so with your help and guidance, I am like 2 pounds away from Wonderland right now.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Actually,
I'm just going to ask you what your weight was right now. So you're close to Wonderland.
That's a dangerous question to ask any woman, Lori. Wow.
No, I know, but she's sharing it. But I have to say
it is what it is, Dan. Those are the numbers. So again, my high was 341. I'm 202 as we sit here today.
That's amazing. But it's not so much, Nancy, the weight loss. It is how your body has shrunk. Because I remember seeing you last May, and I was in awe of the transition and transformation of you, Nancy Facone. Because I remembered day one. I'm getting goosebumps just saying this because I remember day one with you, and I remember the first 4 weeks, and then when we did it again. And it's just an honor and a privilege to be part of that journey with you because it's not just about weight loss. Your entire mindset and body has transformed to somebody different. And I know we've got to go to break, right, Dan? So we'll go on break with
Let's hold it right there. That was a great way to end the first segment here. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back. And where I want to go next is to kind of, you talked about all the prep for the surgery, and maybe we talk about what you have to look at and do post-surgery. So that'll be the next. TK, time to pay the bills. As Bill says in our other show, take it away, my friend.
How far would you go if you had a group of strong, amazing people who support, motivate, and inspire one another to achieve their fitness goals and dreams? At Full Circle Fitness, we aren't just a place to work out. We're a community of amazing people who work together to reclaim our bodies and do things we thought we'd never be able to do again. Ready to set your fears aside and stop making excuses? Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
The Boiling Spring Lakes Motel, located at 2 North Shore, is a peaceful and convenient place to stay. Newly renovated rooms with a comfortable back porch welcomes everyone. Discount rates are available to those who might need more time. Close to the beach, everything you need for a fun vacation. Call Stephanie at 910-845-2893. Boiling Spring Lakes Motel.
Hey, I'm Yael Osowski.
And I'm David Clement.
We're the host of Consumer Choice Radio, broadcasting every Saturday at 10 a.m. here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Consumer Choice Radio is a weekly conversation featuring the latest news, interviews, and expert analysis that covers consumer topics from around the world.
ConsumerChoiceRadio.com.
If you're enjoying the content you find on Big Talker, any of your shows, all the hosts, you really need to make sure you're following and liking us on Facebook. There's a video section. You can watch all the live video of programs as they happen. You can also see video of past content that you may have missed for whatever reason. Plus, even better, you can share it with a friend. Let other people know how much you enjoy the Big Talker and the great content we provide, and interact with other listeners and the hosts in the comment section live as it happens. Big Talker Net on Facebook.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Living Fit After 50 show. Having a great time here talking with our guest, Nancy Facone. Don't forget, you can call into the show, 910-444-0281, or jump in the chat if you're watching us on Facebook, and ask questions if you want. You've got a person who's been through bariatric surgery, and I consider her an expert. Feel free to take advantage of it. Also, a reminder, don't forget to check out our webpage, livingfitafter50.com. Lots of good information on there, prior shows, all that good stuff. So anyway, enough with that. We're back to Nancy, because that's what you're really listening for. So Nancy, you kind of talked about the thought process prior, and up till the day of surgery. So where I want to go now is if you could talk a little bit about the actual day of surgery, just briefly, and then I want to talk about what to expect. Let's say I'll use a time frame of the first 12 months because you kind of hinted at that earlier. Let's say 12 to 18 months out. So day of surgery, you talked about you have to do all your prep prior. Now the day has come. You're in the car going to the hospital or the center, surgical center. Can you describe briefly that experience?
I was, very, very nervous, despite that I felt good about all the choices that I had made. Any surgery, has the potential for complications and risks. I had unrelated surgery before, so at least I knew a little bit what to expect. But when they're, wheeling you, down the hall into the OR, it's pretty frightening. But they took very, very, very good care of me. The anesthesiologist was, wonderful. I didn't feel, anything at all, of course, during the procedure. I'll tell you a slightly funny story if we have a minute. The first time I had surgery, when I woke up from the anesthesia, I was freezing cold. And the nurses had to bring me tons and tons and tons of blankets. So I mentioned that because they had said, you've had anesthesia before, any reaction. So this time when I woke up, they had me bundled up so tight and I was so hot, I thought I was going to die. And I was still in the kind of waking up phase where you can't move or say anything. And I was like, oh no. But that for me was the worst part. So then, basically you recover for a bit in recovery and, they bring you up to your room. I stayed over one night. And basically what they want you to do is to get up and start walking, pretty quickly after the surgery. And that's for a couple of reasons, because in order to perform the procedure, they have to use a lot of gas to, what do I want to say, enlarge the area to be worked on. And so you're carrying around a lot of excess gas that walking will help expel. I
was to say, pass. I know, we all know what you're talking about.
So I basically walked. I did not have a lot of pain at all. They did leave me with a morphine drip that was self-administered so that if I felt anything, you would hit the pump. And they said you used very, very, very little of it. And frankly, most of it was at night because my roommate kept crying and whining and bothering me.
Did they have the same surgery or was it a different one?
No, that was the only negative, I think, to this is that this facility had a specific bariatric floor, but it turned out to be full. So I was on a different floor. And so, while the nurses obviously knew what procedure I had to be educating them on, you're not going to bring me a regular breakfast because what you want to talk about is, okay, so now what? It's day one. You can have clear liquids and that's it. And that's going to go on for a couple of weeks. Then you progress then you progress to not clear liquids. So you can get a little thicker soup and things like that. And then you go to soft food, so Jell-O, or if you were going to puree some beans, mashed potatoes, things like that. And that goes on over the course of about 6 to 8 weeks, I would say, that you progress through those stages. And they give you, or at least my facility gave me, the whole list of instructions and suggestions for what foods, fit into which categories. So I followed that absolutely, to a T. And then we got to, if it was week 6 or week 8, and it said you can try a scrambled egg. So I tried the scrambled egg and my stomach was kind of what's this? Food. And it was I felt very gurgly and burpy. And I actually, and this is not an unusual outcome, vomited some of it. Just because your stomach has to get used to these things. And there will be some things that, you may have loved previously that, just don't agree with you and your new stomach anymore. I've seen people have issues with beef, with chicken. I have not had those issues after we got past the egg incident. But then you kind of just work your way back up to, what works for me is kind of 5 smaller meals during the day, because what you're trying to do as a bariatric patient is get a large amount of protein, a not so large amount of carbs, and a little bit of good fats. So I try to balance that out. I still drink protein shakes. I've already had 2 this morning, and I tend to do that. I've got a salad keyed up for lunch in a little bit. I'll have a small snack in the afternoon and probably be some carrot sticks and hummus and like a couple of blueberries. And then we'll have a dinner, which will probably be, I don't know what we have planned tonight. I think we have salmon and green beans. So that's basically the diet, longer term now. I know people can have, and do have, different kinds of complications with the surgeon, nicking something unintended, like your gallbladder, and, creating problems from that. People have had instances where their new stomach has twisted around itself and they end up having to have another procedure to correct that. There are people, particularly who have had the gastric sleeve procedure, which didn't exist back when I had surgery. But people tend to develop a lot of reflux with that and end up going back in to get revised to the gastric bypass, which is what I had to begin with. I think, go ahead.
Oh, it wasn't me. Did Laura, were you going to say something?
I think you're trying to say something.
No, Dan acknowledged it. Yeah.
You're good, Nance. Go ahead.
Okay. So the other, I think, potential areas of concern are, you really have got to work on your mindset. And so, obviously I used food for comfort, celebration, sadness, anger, whatever. And so you have to find a different outlet for that. And some people make some bad choices, like they develop a gambling addiction or a shopping addiction or a drug or alcohol addiction. So that's something to be very mindful of, is to think about what your coping mechanisms are going to be, because it's not going to be food.
You bring up some interesting points here. Go ahead, Lori. No, I'll let you go. Go ahead.
All right. So, and, you were talking about the food. And that was one of the things where a few of my friends that had the gastric bypass surgery, months after they had it, they were at lunch and they were eating French fries with, ranch dressing on it still. And it was almost like, why did you bother going through this entire process if you're not going to eat correctly, Right. And that's one of the things, that's where, and I know that, Nancy, you were by the book, you followed everything to a T. And like you said, you fell off it, you got back on it and stuff, where you really had to start teaching yourself how to eat differently, where, and the surgery is in no way a quick fix to just say, all right, I'm going to get this surgery and I'm going to be thin, and you've got people that do it, and it just blew my mind that they went through all of this and they were still not changing their eating habits. And that I know that you struggled with in the beginning, and you really seem to be on point at this point.
Yeah, because that's the key to it all. And like you and Dan have taught me, 80% of health and fitness and wellness is the nutritional piece. So, I can enjoy lots of different things that, are good for me and that I like. I can modify recipes and substitute things that, aren't good for me or aren't good for the bariatric diet. So I'm really finding, a lot of kind of joy actually in figuring that part out. But you're right, it's a total mindset. And what you have to remember, and I think what makes it hard for people is this. So they go in, or at least in my program, they told us over and over and over and over again, this is just a tool. It's not the answer. It's a tool to get to where you want to be. And the first year, the weight flies off so easily, probably even if you were eating French fries. There's just nothing you can do about it. It's coming off.
Right.
You know, and then it stops. The honeymoon's over, and that's when people gain weight again. You know, and or get malnourished because they're eating crap like French fries.
Right. It seems to be in that 12 to 18 month, at least in my experience. Lori and I, about over the years, probably, and I'm estimating 15 to 20% of our people who have come to us, clients, are like Nancy. They've had some sort of bariatric surgery. And having talked with many of them about it, it seems to be right around that 12 to 18 month period where I'll use your term, the honeymoon is over, right? They have that first year, they lose a ton of weight. I mean, that's simple. Calories in versus calories out, right? You just can't eat as much as you used to. But then it does seem to change. And what are your thoughts on why that happened? Is there, I don't know of a physiological reason. I think it's almost more mental, but maybe I'm wrong. What are your thoughts? Why that period?
I think it is mental.
Okay.
I think you forget the training that you've had. This is just a tool and you have to, work it. And I get really mad when people say like, oh, having the surgery was the easy way out. There ain't nothing easy about this, at all. But it's absolutely a mindset.
That's the point I want people to hear right there is what you just said. It's not the easy way out. Because I think the
easy way out would have been if I could have successfully, dieted and exercised on my own.
Right. Because, and let's kind of go there. I'm going to go there. Because, and I don't mean this, anyone who's listening, look, I'm not against bariatric, but it's going to sound like I am right now. And I don't mean it to, but I want to be honest with people and have Nancy's opinion on this. As a trainer and someone who studied nutrition for decades now, the main reason I see that people go and get it, and I'm not saying it's exclusively this, is they're looking for the easy way out. They don't want to diet and exercise, or they've tried however many diets, 10, 15, 20, and they just haven't had it work. So they go and have the surgery thinking this is the panacea. It's going to solve the problem, not knowing. And I will be honest with you, I went to a seminar and they didn't talk about the work afterward. They made it seem like it was going to be very simple. We're going to have the surgery. You're going to lose the weight. You'll be good. When the reality is you have to watch your diet more so than before the surgery because nutrition becomes a huge factor. And you still have to exercise because as the weight comes off, it's not just fat. It's muscle mass, all of that coming off. So the thing that shocks people that have come into us is, I didn't realize I'd still have to watch my diet and exercise. What are your thoughts on that, Nancy? Do you think that a lot of people have that thought process where I don't want to say the easy way out because there's nothing easy about it. And I think most people know that, but that it becomes, the panacea, I'll use that word, when they don't realize what's involved.
Yeah, I do see that. So I belong to a bunch of online, bariatric groups where we talk about different things. And, there's a couple of the groups, and I'm actually debating leaving those where the people are just like, oh, why can't I just have, 3 pieces of chocolate cake? And people are like, well, you can if you want to. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. Either there's a way to make cake that is much lower in carb, much lower in sugar, and you could have that 1 piece on occasion. But I get people who are like, they leave the hospital and they head right over to, Burger King and, get a Whopper. And that's, it's just the wrong mindset altogether. That the surgery itself is the end all and be all, and it just isn't. It's a starting point. It gives you a good head start, but you have to keep up with it. And the nutrition piece is, I think, especially important because I've seen people who end up in the hospital having to have like a nutritional, I don't know what you call it,
intervention, probably.
Yeah, well, an intervention, right? So they're being fed nutritionally through a tube,
right,
to try to get that.
Yeah, I mean that's what ultimately happens, right? They become so deficient in certain, minerals, vitamins, all that stuff that it has to be fed to them intravenously to try and catch it up. I mean, I've heard those stories.
To try to get them back on track.
Right.
So there, are like I take a bariatric multivitamin every single day. And a lot of people, fall off the wagon on that also, which is not good because you can get deficient real easy, real fast. And the other thing I'll say is you have to, I know it's good to drink a lot of water, and Dan and Lori have taught me, to try to drink half your body weight in water, which I do try to do. But the additional incentive for me for that is because I've had gastric bypass, there's less of my intestinal organs to absorb water. So it's very, very, very easy to get dehydrated.
Great point. On that note, it's a good time to go to our next break. So we're going to throw it to TK to take us to commercial, and then we're going to come back and we'll have about 10 or 15 minutes to kind of wrap things up and discuss some of the other pros and cons. Take it away, TK.
Are you nervous about joining a gym? Anxious about not being able to keep up with others in the fitness classes? Full Circle Fitness has your solution. We specialize in working with those just getting started on their fitness journey. Our coaches tailor each workout to you and your level of ability, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. There's no better opportunity to get started. Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Folks, you must visit Angie's Fresh Produce, 4447 Long Beach Road, Southport. Beautiful fresh produce at a great price. Angie's has just about every vegetable you want. In-store shopping and pickup, and all wheelchair accessible. Call Angie's Fresh Produce at 910-477-9068.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
Wake up to Good Morning Carolina, weekdays at 5:30 a.m.
And Good Morning Carolina. It is a very busy news morning today. I'm Donna Gregory.
And I'm Jeff Rivenbark. We're glad you're starting your Tuesday with us.
Be prepared and ready to go for the day ahead.
For the time being, we are dry and quiet, but we are dealing with some patchy fog.
And catch up with the overnight news you need to know before heading out the door.
We'll have more details and more live coverage in just a few moments.
Get up early for Good Morning Carolina, weekdays at 5:30 a.m.
And we're back to the Living Fed After 50 show. Hard to believe this thing is flying by with our amazing guest, Nancy Facone. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to dial in. Of course, I don't have the phone number right in front of me as usual. There it is, 910-444-0281. So we've been discussing the aspects of we're calling it bariatric surgery. We're generalizing it. We know there's different types. And we're just trying to be general with it. So we've talked about what to look at or expect prior to, and then during and post-surgery. And I thought it would be good to share some of the data that I researched just briefly. So one of the things Nancy kind of mentioned is she didn't have any complications during the actual surgery. All the research that I've done over the years, there's always a risk with surgery. Let's state that outright. But the risk is minimal. It's about 1% from the research I've done and having talked with doctors. So as far as surgeries goes, it's relatively, I don't want to say risk-free, but risk-light. I guess that's the term I'll use. And then the other side of it too is like question that we often hear as trainers from people is, how successful is it? And the reality is, and I just got recent numbers because I was doing some research prior to the show. So these are from the NIH, National Institute of Health. How they define success is achieving or maintaining a less than 50% of excess weight loss over 18 to 24 months, or a body mass index of greater than 35. So if you to sum that up really simple, if your body mass index is still over 35 after surgery, that would be considered, quotes, failure. But if somebody's at 60 and they get to 36, I'm sorry, I'm not calling that failure. I'm calling that success. Long term, they're saying roughly the failure rate is 20 to 35%. And in my experience, and I think Lori would agree with me on that, it's about 30 is the number I've always used myself. About 30% don't succeed long-term. But the other side of that is that means 70% do, right? So it's always a risk versus reward assessment with any of this stuff. And as I said at the beginning of the show, you need to talk to your doctor. We're not medical advisors. We're not giving medical advice here. We're just trying to give you information to educate you and that you can then use to go and talk to your doctor. So I kind of want to go down that route, if it's all right with you, Nancy. So you've been 12 years out, I believe. Mm-hmm. Overall, what have been the let's call it the differences in your health? And I think generally it's very positive. But directly in regards to having had the surgery, improvements in your health, any negatives that you've had that you can attribute specifically to the surgery?
Not really to health, because I've had to work, mental health wise, I've had to do a lot of work on, food is not there, for me to cope. So I have to find other ways to manage stress and to cope and things like that. And you all have been, helpful to me in that regard with like meditations and yoga and, good things like that. I would say the most annoying part for me is because I've lost 140-ish pounds, is that I have a lot of sagging skin. So that's annoying. But it's to be expected when you lose weight that rapidly. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that there's any amount of training I can do that's ever going to change that in any kind of dramatic way. And I don't know that I want to put myself through, more plastic surgery, just for the sake of that. That's the big downside for me.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, that's the most common thing I've heard from people who've had the surgery is the skin becomes a major issue for them in some cases. And then you're looking at more surgery. However, I would counter that by saying, if you've gotten to that point, the odds are your risk of heart attack, diabetes, cancer, to me, excess skin and dealing with that versus having to deal with any of those.
Yep.
It's a plus minus, right? And you have to weigh that and see what's most important to you. We can't tell you as an individual what to think on that. But it's those things to be aware of. Skin surgery for post-bariatric is a common thing. And it's because, as Nancy kind of pointed out, there is no amount of exercise you can do that's going to, when you're dropping, I've heard of 100-pound weight losses in 6 months. When you're dropping that much weight that fast, you are going to have excess skin. There is no hiding that fact. So you have to be aware of that. Lori, I'm going to let you jump in now.
Oh, really? Just like that? crap. All right. So, Nancy, if I was thinking about having gastric bypass surgery, what advice or suggestions would you give to me?
Well, I would, have a talk with yourself first to say that you're prepared to understand it's a tool, not a panacea, and that you're going to do the work, that you're going to follow the doctor's instructions, everything preoperatively and postoperatively and long-term if you're going to achieve success. And I think that, and then finding, I would recommend a center of excellence and a surgeon with whom you can develop a good relationship with.
Right.
And also,
right.
and also one that has a nutrition program alongside of it.
Yeah, that was my next question to you. What do you recommend? How would I find that best surgeon? I mean, how many surgeons did you talk with before you said, yep, you're the one?
I talked with 3.
Oh, okay.
And, for me, those kinds of things are, you either click and it feels right, in my heart, in my gut, or it doesn't. And so actually the first one I spoke to ended up being that person.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you didn't go with this click. You just kept looking and then decided. Go ahead, Dan. I know.
Yeah. I thought it was worth, having, 2 or 3 to, just make sure that I, felt correct about it. And, again, I'm an over researcher, so maybe it was, excessive, but that's what I felt like I needed to do.
It's kind of like I had to go through 3 wives before I found the right one. I went there. Go ahead, Lori.
I'm just gonna say what I always say when Dan says that. Sweet, I still have another opportunity. I do. Because Dan is my second. I've got one more opportunity. 3rd time is the charm. But I know TK's probably shaking his head in disbelief that
I know he is.
Conversation even taking place, but. I always come back with that comeback. And it's funny, Nancy, because when I had my knee surgery, and again, it's major surgery, I saw one doctor in North Carolina, and I just felt very comfortable right away. And there were other doctors I probably could have went to talk to, but I just felt that good, positive vibe. Last question that I'm going to ask you, what are some of the positives to your surgery? Well, I know one of them is meeting us at Full Circle Fitness. I know that. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I know. So, and we feel the same. We're honored. But what are some of the positives that you have and some of the negatives that you have from the surgery?
So, the positives are much improved energy, ability to, do things that, I don't think I could have done or I didn't do when I was so much heavier and it was harder to do. Learning to enjoy and have fun working out with you all has been good. And as well as exploring things I, never thought I might have done, like boxing and yoga and the TRX and all of that. And then I think, another positive, like maybe in the more recent past, is in late 2020, I had hip replacement surgery, which was supposed to be an overnight procedure, but I recovered so fast and so well. And I think it's because of all the training that I have done with you all. They ended up being able to let me go home the same day.
That's great.
I think things like that have been a real positive contributor. I think, like you said, Lori, I think I'm a different person than I was way back on day one. My mindset is different. I have more confidence in what I can do, willing to try new things, continuing to learn from you guys. And, what I appreciate a lot about the two of you is the full circle for me means you're, talking to me about physical health, nutrition, mental health, stress management. It's really the full circle of sleep, stress management, if I didn't say that already. And that's the full circle for me.
All right, we got about a minute before I got to throw it to our final break. I have one more question real quick for you, Nancy. And this is, I think I know the answer, but I want you to be honest here. And I know you will be. Do you have any regrets having the surgery?
I do not.
See? And that's the point, folks, is Nancy did the research, and I knew her answer was going to be she does not. It was probably one of the best things you've ever done in your life for yourself. And that's when to me, that defines success on it. I've had people say the opposite. I'll be honest about it. But do the research, find a quality doctor, talk to them, and make an educated, informed decision. On that note, we're going to throw it to take our final break and then come on back to wrap things up. Take it away, TK.
Are you nervous about joining a gym? Anxious about not being able to keep up with others in the fitness classes? Full Circle Fitness has your solution. We specialize in working with those just getting started on their fitness journey. Our coaches tailor each workout to you and your level of ability, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. There's no better opportunity to get started. Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Folks, you must visit Angie's Fresh Produce, 4447 Long Beach Road, Southport. Beautiful fresh produce at a great price. Angie's has just about every vegetable you want. In-store shopping and pickup, and all wheelchair accessible. Call Angie's Fresh Produce at 910-477-9068.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you are a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
Wake up to Good Morning Carolina, weekdays at 5:30 a.m.
And good morning, Carolina. It is a very busy news morning today. I'm Donna Gregory.
And I'm Jeff Rivenbark. We're glad you're starting your Tuesday with us.
Be prepared and ready to go for the day ahead.
For the time being, we are dry and quiet, but we are dealing with some patchy fog.
And catch up with the overnight news you need to know before heading out the door.
We'll have more details and more live coverage in just a few moments.
Get up early for Good Morning Carolina, weekdays at 5:30 a.m.
And we're back to Living Fit After 50. We got to wrap this up quick because we only got about a minute left. Our many, many thanks to Nancy for joining us and sharing her thoughts and feelings and wisdom about bariatric surgery from a patient's perspective. Lori, who's coming on next week? Tell us.
All right. So we are super excited because we have Ben Erickson from Carolina Pure to discuss
CBD and its many benefits.
That is going to be another great show, and I've literally written the book on CBD, so we're going to have a really good conversation on that. Again, if you're watching us on Facebook, do us a favor. Give us a like, give us a share, same on YouTube. subscribe to the channel because, hey, it makes us more popular and YouTube shares it with more people. And don't forget, our website is livingfitafter50.com. Lots of good information there and prior shows.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington.
Don't forget to download the app.
He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative.
And we're clear. Nancy, that was awesome. See? That was even better than I expected it to be, and I expected it to be great.
100 songs to enjoy with your coffee. A perfect blend of music from across the globe.